Good people YouTube, I'm the Watch Idiot, and it feels so weird to have a 36mm Oyster Perpetual on my wrist after having the Apple Watch Ultra on my wrist for so long. But yeah, like my God, it feels so good on the wrist, and it's just making me miss my Explorer 2 so much. But in many ways, this is the entry-level Rolex and the simplest Rolex, but that does not mean that it's lacking in any way. I mean, this thing is like the perfect embodiment of what Rolex is supposed to be in many ways. I mean, to be honest, it's like probably the most, you know, quote unquote, like Rolex watches out there. So in this video, I'm gonna go over what it is that I love about this watch and what it is that I hate/dislike about the watch. And yeah, because as great as it is, there is one thing that does irritate me quite a bit. Stay tuned to find out. Also, there have been some hiccups with the 10K giveaway I announced earlier. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split the giveaway into two parts, you know, part one being right now and then part two being next month. So yeah, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button, and the entry details will be near the end of the video. But just so you know, it's 3 Rhodium straps. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty sweet. And also, this watch belongs to a close friend of mine, and it's for sale with the box of papers and all that good stuff because he saw my Grand Seikos and he wants to give Grand Seiko a go now, which is pretty cool. So yeah, it's gaining like barely a second a day, which is awesome, and it's got some character on it, obviously, but you know, a quick refinish should take care of most of the surface level scratches over here. So if you're interested, go ahead and email me with your shipping zip code, and yeah, then we can go from there, and let's get into it right now. So I'm not gonna get into the full-on dimensions, but you know, here they are over here, I think, if you want to check that out. But yeah, through the video, I will be talking about how it looks and how it feels on the wrist, because that plays a huge role in, you know, for why I love this watch so much. But first off, I love the simplicity, and that simplicity makes this the most old school Rolex of all the Rolex watches out there right now. And yeah, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that the other watches are bad or they're not capable. It's just that they have much more of a luxury feel. But this, on the other hand, obviously feels incredible and luxurious, but it doesn't feel flashy. It just feels like it's just doing what it's supposed to do. And a lot of that comes down to most of the watch being brushed, which is a rarity amongst Rolex watches nowadays, and it having a simple, clean, fixed bezel. So yeah, overall, it just feels like a chill watch that's there to do whatever you wanted to do, and no questions asked. Also, seeing it from the side, it's so awesome because the side profile is just so purely Rolex and something that we've seen for decades, and it just makes me feel more classy, I guess. But also at the same time, I feel like I could take it out for adventures, but also at the same time, I feel like just wearing sweaters whenever I'm wearing this watch. So yeah, I mean, thankfully it's sweater weather right now. So yeah, I mean, actually just wait a minute. Here we go. Yeah, it feels right now. Then the 36mm size adds to the simplicity because it's just as much watch as you need, and the now discontinued 39mm version is absolutely amazing. I love the size and the proportions of that, but there's just something about a 36mm Rolex that just works so well, because when I think of an Oyster Perpetual or a Datejust, Day-Date, whatever, I think 36mm, and it works here so well because of the proportions. You know, it still has a relatively muscular look to it with the beefy lugs and the wide look and the spot-on bracelet with a 20 to 16mm taper. And yeah, I've got a 7.5-inch wrist, and I think the size looks so good and so timeless without looking, you know, too small. The new 36mm Explorer with a new 19mm lug width and the narrower lugs and the very tapering bracelet just looks a little bit too small and a little bit awful at that point. Okay, I'm feeling really warm now. I can't do this. Okay, so next up is the bracelet, and this kind of goes for all Rolex watches, but more so with the Oyster bracelet, and that's because there's no other bracelet like it, and it's the most silky and comfortable bracelet that I have ever worn, bar none, and I've worn and owned quite a few watches in my time. And yeah, that's just mainly down to Rolex slowly perfecting this bracelet over decades, and I honestly don't know how they could possibly improve over this, you know, in terms of the experience. Although I still like the Pelagos adjustable clasp more than the glide lock system. And this just feels more special because, in my opinion, while the Rolex Jubilee feels great, there are other multi-link bracelets out there that can feel super comfortable as well because they can have a bit of extra flexibility. But as far as 3-link Oyster style bracelet goes, it's a bit tougher because you only have 3 links to work with, and it needs to be super solid because it's a more tool-tastic watch and bracelet, and this can often lead to overall inflexible bracelets, and they just end up wearing like a cuff and just feels really uncomfortable on the edges of the wrist and stuff like that. So other brands can make great bracelets, but nothing has ever come close to the solidity of an Oyster bracelet. And while having that solidity, having the movement between the links feel so silky, and then on the wrist feeling just so unbelievably comfortable. I mean, wearing this OP is making me miss my Explorer 2 so much, and it's making me want to buy a Rolex now. So yeah, Rolex also makes wonderful clasps. In this case, it just looks super elegant, but it also has a really great feel, and it feels very, very secure. You know, opening it, just lift up the clasp, and to close it, just push it down. I mean, there's never been a time that I felt like it was just gonna like fly off my wrist because it was on there so tight, or, you know, or I felt like I have to like, you know, rip my fingernail off just trying to open it. It feels, yeah, none of that. And there's not much to say about the design other than, you know, it's just, you know, what you would expect, because this style is just, you know, all over the place, but there's a reason why it's just so ubiquitous. And in the end, this is an Oyster bracelet on a Rolex. So yeah, it's their bracelet. And this is the best example of an Oyster bracelet. And now the dial, and it's just so good. And yeah, for those of you who know me, will know that my favorite color is gray, you know, as you can tell from a t-shirt and actually the sweater that I had from before. But yeah, I mean, I love gray dials, but they aren't that common overall, which is a bit of a shame. But you know, here it's actually Rhodium, which gives it a bit of a natural brushed steel look, which is great, but also gives it a little bit of touch color. So yeah, the sunburst finish is done so well, as you'd expect from the Crown. And yeah, it's an absolute joy to see, you know, such a high quality sunburst such a high quality sunburst finish move around in the light, and I just can't get enough of it. And also, I like the font of the numerals on the minute track on the outside because they add a touch of modernity to the watch, and it just suits the, you know, the go anywhere, do anything vibe. And then we have those super 3-dimensional indices, which is, yeah, 3-dimensional indices is just one of my absolute favorite things to see on any watch, you know, and dial, just because they add so much visual interest. And this just like there's so much more to see on the dial. And it being a Rolex, the finishing of the indices is very good. I mean, and also they've got multiple facets on them too, which just adds to the light play of the entire dial. And as for the lume inside of the indices, it's actually green, which was a bit disappointing to see because I love seeing blue lume. In this case, it would have been chromolite, but you know, no complaints here. It's bright enough for what it needs to be. Pretty much everything on the dial is what I would want from a Rolex like this, you know, which is why it's just so timeless and classic. So, I mean, what more could I possibly want from Rolex? Other than a lot of things, but this watch is good. Yeah, so this combo here, we have, you know, stainless steel with a gray Rhodium dial. It's neutral and low key, which means that this can pretty much look good on any strap out there. You know, I can absolutely see it, you know, with a, you know, great rubber strap or leather strap or even a NATO strap. And on top of that, we have a 20mm lug width, which is just, you know, makes things even more perfect. And it's all lining up to be an absolute strap monster. But Rolex put the spring bars pretty much right next to the case when they had so much more room on the lugs themselves. So I can't show this to you right now just because I didn't want to take out the bracelet and do something wrong before selling it, but I have footage from my 3rd ever video from last March that I took down a long time ago, showing, you know, just how great this OP looks on, you know, these green straps, which and the video was actually for St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, how times have changed. So the Barton rubber strap can't fully move down and up because the case edge really digs into the strap and it scratches up the top part of the, you know, strap pretty badly. And the NATO strap couldn't even go on there because there just wasn't enough space. So yeah, obviously, you know, you can use a pair of curved spring bars to make it work, you know, or with NATO straps, or if you want to, you can find curved straps out there too. But you know, that's all just an extra step and an extra hassle it could have been so much more simpler. All that being said, I really don't think that this is much of an issue because the bracelet is just so good and this watch looks so good on the bracelet. It's just so comfortable and just everything that I said in the bracelet section. So yeah, I really don't think that I would ever take it off the bracelet if I owned this watch, pretty much ever. Maybe just for fun, but no. So it's giveaway time, and yeah, this first giveaway is going to be for 3 winners for 3 Rhodium straps. And by the way, this isn't sponsored by them or anything like that, but yeah, if you want one, make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, of course, and then comment below which watch or watches of yours you would want to pair with this strap, or you know, a watch that you would get after getting this strap, you know. So yeah, when you do that and comment down below, then you're entered. And then I'll pick the winner on this coming Friday, November the 4th, and I will reply to your comment telling you that you won, and I will ask you to email me with the email address that I've used for all my videos. That's in the description, and I'll also put that in the comment. But yeah, do not follow any other scammer comments out there asking, you know, to, you know, message me on like Telegram and stuff like that. I will never ask you to message me on anywhere except my email address, and my comment will have my logo on it and the name of the channel on the comment will be The Watch Idiot, nothing else extra over there. So yeah, just so you know. But yeah, go ahead and get to commenting down there, and I'm really looking forward to, you know, reading all the comments and all the pairings that you guys come up with, and what you think about the Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36. And yeah, until the next video, good day.